Say it ain't so. Please say it ain't so, ladies and gentlemen. This can't possibly be happening, Lubie. It's the end of one of the great traditions of all time. You talk about marketing failures. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of the Morning Briefing. I'm Jeff DeForest, along with one Mike Lubitz. Lubie is drawing high praise from around the country for his basketball acumen. We'll get into that, and a bit later on, we will have our good friend Troy West, who is on absolute fire. In picking not just NBA games, but picking all games for you here on the program. It's been great. So good to have you with us. How could they possibly do this? This is the biggest marketing blunder I've seen since they left Caitlin Clark off the U.S. Women's Olympic team. They can do all the justification of that they can. They do have a way out because this one guard who is on the team, Chelsea Gray, has only played one game so far this year, and there's a strong likelihood that she will not be on the Olympic team because of these injuries, and then they get to do the gratuitous thing. Oh, yeah, well, I know the public wanted to see her. She's only going to play 3 minutes a game in garbage time, but you're going to get her. You're going to get Caitlin Clark. But what on earth were these people thinking? George Shea is the man in charge of the competitive eating professional league and professional ranks. And, of course, he's that host. He's kind of like a Michael Buffer type of host. Not Michael Buffer, but Bruce Buffer. He's like the guy that screams like, "Here he is!" And it's great. It gets the crowd all pumped up on July 4th. You go to Coney Island. You have yourself a Coney Island dog. And you realize, wow, this is great. The fries out of this world. And there isn't a bigger celebration of the hot dog than to have Joey Chestnut. This is an annuity for degenerates also. It's an absolute annuity. It's much like betting the over in the NBA All-Star game. Well, it's 370 points this year. Don't worry. It'll be 200 apiece. When they had a regular game of hockey that they played as the NHL All-Star game, it was like the over. The over-under could be 29 goals. And don't worry, Gretzky's going to have 15 by himself.
Exactly.
It'll be fine. Every year, betting the under on the season total of Marlins wins every season is right up there with this. And you could always count on cashing a ticket if you bet the over on whatever number they posted for Joey Chestnut in the hot dog eating contest. It was impossible. But can you picture, Lubie, does your wife try to shove this stuff down your face? When I mean, my wife is a semi-vegetarian vegan type, okay? And I can have some appreciation for it. I'm not a big fan of eating a ton of red meat as I got older, but I still love it. But can you see yourself eating like a tumbleweed kale hot dog that has a little taste of broccoli rabe in it? I mean, it's blasphemy.
Yep.
It's so far against every American tradition that we grew up on. Now, we didn't realize what a mental game it was, the hot dog eating contest. And we certainly didn't realize to what extent it was a financial game. Because this is all about money with Joey Chestnut. He apparently signed a deal to represent Impossible Hot Dogs, which is an offshoot of the Impossible Burger, which, to tell you the truth, they taste like shit. They really do. When the veggie burger came out, were you inclined to order one? Let me know. You're not. One thing you're good about is you stick to the things that you know. You attempt to, anyway.
Better than some of this other stuff, but it still isn't. I can't even imagine what the hot dog is.
Well, I mean, a hot dog's a piece of shit anyway. Exactly. What's in it?
Hot dogs are already gross.
Cow's toenails? I mean, it's insane. And I would imagine this is not even a favorable development for the people at Bet Online who don't mind paying off on the over on Joey Chestnut every year because it's kind of a fun thing. Let everybody cash a ticket. It's great. Bet Online, by the way, your number one source for the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup playoffs this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, you can head on over to the online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, unwind with one of their over 150 slot games that they have. Head to the website today to get in on all the action. Use the promo code BELIEVE. That's BLEAV. That's all in caps, by the way, for your 50% welcome bonus. They're going to give you half the money you put in right on top of it. Nice. Bet Online, the game starts here. All right, so what do you make of it? I mean, is this the biggest mistake? It would almost be like, taking Dylan Mulvaney and bringing a transgender person to go ahead and promote Dos Equis beer as the world's most interesting man/woman. Which is Dylan Mulvaney, a converted woman into a man or a converted man into a woman?
Who's doing it? I don't.
Right up there with New Coke when the guy said, hey, you know what? We've been selling more soda than anybody else, so we're making so much money, we don't know what to do. Why don't we just change the formula for it and make it a shittier drink?
Exactly.
Blasphemy, though. I don't know. What is more of a disgrace? That Caitlin Clark's not on the U.S. Olympic team? All of these pseudo-intellectual WNBA analysts now are like, well, she really doesn't deserve it. Fuck you, she doesn't deserve it. She is the only reason anybody gives a crap about women's basketball at this point. And the only reason really to watch the hot dog eating contest is to see Joey Chestnut annihilate the record, win by 50 hot dogs, walk off looking like he's just about ready to puke, like he was a deckhand on Deadliest Catch, and celebrate the fact that somehow this guy, it's not easy to do. Try it someday, right? We had a guy that can consume a lot of food attempt to do the hot dog eating competition. He got to 4 dogs. That's it.
Yep.
And then he was starting all kinds of shades of green. So to take this Joey Chestnut accomplishment and legacy off of the July 4th celebration, it's un-American. It's just flat out un-American. I don't care if he wants to eat kale. That's fine. Let him do it.
Well, I didn't know you had, so like, did he used to have a Nathan's, or you just can't have a competing one? Like a lot of these people are just randoms, right? They don't have a Nathan's sponsorship. So I don't understand. Why do they give a shit? Like,
they were going to pay him an appearance fee. I guess the implication is that he only eats Nathan's hot dogs because they were going to pay him to show up, but there wasn't enough money to compete with the people that wanted him to eat this other garbage. And so Chestnut, nearing the end of his career, I mean, look, the Black Widow, Sonya, she used to win every year in the women's division. She's out of it. I think she's managing a Burger King right now. Kobayashi just retired. We didn't even know he was still around. We thought he was busting tables at some tofu place. He was so disgraced that Chestnut was on top and became such a perennial champion. But wow, I mean, very, very disturbing development there regarding my favorite holiday, which happens to be July 4th, the celebration of American independence, which could be coming into question in about 4 or 5 months, whether or not we're ever going to be the same again. All right, Aaron Rodgers, a no-show Jets mandatory autumn, what is it, official team activity? I think it's a mini camp. It's a mini camp.
Maybe past OTAs, yeah, maybe a mini camp now.
Can you imagine? I mean, all those people that just sunk all their money into the Jets to win the Super Bowl are probably, ready to just stick a long rod right up their nose as if it was COVID-20. What is Rodgers doing that's so important? It's an unnamed event that he's attending. Is he going to one of those darkness retreats? Is he going to try and patch things up with Pat McAfee so he can go and make outrageous statements and get his show into all kind of jackpots and jeopardize McAfee's $100 million? What could it be? Is he going back to a relationship with Danica Patrick where every day you're like Joey Chestnut, the thrill driver who was just test crashing cars into walls? Tough job, but somebody's got to do it. What is it that he's doing that is keeping him away from this unspecified Aaron Rodgers activity? So that's a little bit of a strange story coming out of the National Football League, just to kick things off. Don't do it, Rory McIlroy. Wow. Rory McIlroy. Have you seen this absolute stone babe? Has a tremendous personality. She's one of the golf commentators on CBS. Amanda Balionis is her name. And then she married a guy who was like an assistant coach at FIU, Florida International University. Married a guy who was a quarterback briefly, kind of a scrub quarterback in the NFL, a guy named Renner. And she became Amanda Renner, and she had this giant ring she was wearing. And let's face it, she's a babe you're paying attention to, and she really does a great job. She's a dynamite reporter, by the way. Really livens up. Jim Nantz seems to be, is he about to doze off as he's doing these broadcasts?
He's near the end.
It's like, hello, friends. Come on, Jimmy, pick it up. It's only Ian Eagle is going to have the job at the Masters next year. What are you talking about? Got to be completely out of your mind. Did I just turn my camera off here?
Camera, it's been doing, and now we lost you totally.
Oh, that's terrible here.
I hear you.
I'm here?
In the heavens. I'm like, where's Defo?
Wow, what happened to me here?
I don't know.
Change layout? What happened?
I do want to say something because you were going to bring up, we haven't talked the finals, and I know Troy will come on and he's killing baseball, so I presume he'll do something baseball. But you don't root for injuries, and anyone who's listened to us and watched us has heard me speak of one player again. I'm not asking for him, and I don't see Troy either. Oh, there's Troy.
There's Troy. I'm trying to find my way back into this thing.
But what's interesting is you don't ever want injuries. Don't get me wrong, but the only reason I've spoken of Chris Porzingis as much as I have is because the Boston fans are fucking annoying. And when they got him, they acted like it was getting Kevin Durant to the Warriors. And I was like, do you know who you're getting? Like, if you followed his career, because he doesn't play more than 60 fucking games a year. And this year he literally played less because they game managed him. He got hurt in the first game of the playoffs, missed the whole playoffs. And my favorite part was Boston fans saying, well, we're not worried. He'll be there for the finals. Yeah, for 5 minutes. And by game 3, he'll be hurt. And did you see the news yesterday? Guess who's hurt? And what's great about Porzingis is there's always some fucking weird ass injury you've never heard of. And he's not a gamer. So whereas Luka is definitely hurt and he shouldn't have probably played at all in the playoffs. The dude can't move. He looks like he's my grandmother at Central Village. He is still out there playing. That's not Porzingis. If Porzingis has an injury, he's out for 3 months. That's just Porzingis. So I just found it really funny yesterday after all the crap Boston fans have said. Look, they'll probably still win. They're up 2 games. Luka's hurt. Kyrie, whether it's the defense of the Celtics or himself, is just not playing as he's played all playoffs. So the Celtics will probably prove me wrong and win the series. But I did get a little bit of satisfaction to hear the news of Kristaps Porzingis having some leg injury that no one's heard of. And now he went from day to day yesterday to by last night was questionable. So we'll see what he is today. They don't even play till tomorrow.
I think they did an amputation, Lubie. Did you get me back on screen, by the way?
Yeah, we see you.
Oh, good. And there's Troy West is showing up. You know what? It's Horace Greeley time on the show. We had a little bit of a technical flare-up here. And we did want to take care of this business, though, because he's become the most popular element of the morning briefing. And that is going all the way out to Seattle. And our good friend Troy West, who has given us nothing but winners.
Yep.
Now, that's a fair statement. This isn't like the guys on Proline where a guy wins one game because he's 2 for 2 here with us here on the show. Plus, he's been pounding the Celtics, Lubie, for the entire season while everybody else is waiting for their collapse. So we welcome to the show Troy West of Troy Wins. Troy, how are you, my friend?
Hey, doing good. Hey, Lubie, you could actually make a career betting that Porzingis will get hurt. I think you just need to switch to prop bets, right? Just bet he's going to get hurt, and you might get plus money on those. So you were right about that. If you could find the prop that Porzingis will not finish the game, I think you'd probably come out okay.
I got a text yesterday from one of the network executives at Caffeine TV, No Filter, and Believe. And they all said, we need Lubie to elaborate on his Porzingis theory because he's right on. He's been saying all year long that the guy was going to get hurt and that the fact that he came back was no certainty that he was going to be any factor in the postseason in the championship round. And sure enough, here he is again with a mysterious, undiagnosable leg injury. Pretty wild for a guy. He really is more fragile than Henry Finkel was when he was with the Boston Celtics. Unbelievable. How you doing, Troy West? How you feeling, my friend?
Doing great. Florida Panthers are up 2-0. Loving how that series is going so far. Celtics are up 2-0. Tonight will be interesting, though. Tonight's going to be a very interesting game. They're obviously a 2.5-point underdog going into tonight. I think the biggest question with tonight's game is what are you going to get from Kyrie? He has been an absolute disaster. And I don't necessarily think it's just the way he's playing. It seems mentally that there's just something a little bit off right now. So I'll be curious if he's able to put up a 30 to 40 point night. And if the Mavericks get tonight, I think we've got a new series. But a lot of big ifs and a lot of question marks going into tonight's game.
So it came as no surprise to you at all that with Porzingis back in there for the first couple of games and the subpar performances of Kyrie Irving, I guess that was something that people couldn't have anticipated, that he would go 2 for 2 in throwing nothing but bricks up there.
Yeah, I think Boston's length is a big deal. I think their defense is vastly underrated. Guys like Jason Tatum who really haven't had the offensive series that a lot of people thought he'd have, but these are big guys. These are good defensive players. When you can throw, guys like Drew Holiday, Jaylen Brown, Derek White, Jason Tatum, those are 4 really, really good defenders. And I'm not sure Kyrie's seen this kind of length in a while. I think there's a little bit of the factor that he played at Boston, didn't have a great career at Boston. Maybe he's trying too hard to send a message to those Celtic fans. And I think the mix of everything's got him fumbled up a little bit.
I don't know if there's a prop bet on this, Troy and Lubie, but does Joe Cronin, the GM for however long of the Portland Trailblazers, I mean, you would have to think that his future was somewhat in question. Does he get a ring if the Celtics win it all this year for handing them Drew Holiday for nothing after completely bungling the Damian Lillard departure.
Boy, you would think so. I mean, I'll be the first to say I thought that that was a good move by the Bucks, but boy, that has backfired big time. And Holiday's just been outstanding. And Holiday's just that kind of that perfect presence guy. He doesn't have the ego, he doesn't have the attitude. He's just got that mentality of he'll do whatever he wants to win. And you think, well, that's everybody in the NBA. It's really not. I mean, this is a lot of these guys are so selfish. They're so egomaniacs. Holiday just kind of that perfect role, and he fits that Celtic team so perfectly.
Do you think that Jason Kidd had money on the point spread in the Dallas game, game number 2, when I saw that game at 7.5 at one point? I guess it went down around post time for the game, maybe even as low as 6.5, but certainly many people had it at 7 and a hook. Every strategy manual would tell you that you have to foul with 25 seconds to go. You at least have to attempt to put somebody. Lubie pointed out Jaylen Brown's free throw shooting has been suspect, shooting somewhere around 60% in the postseason, and certainly somebody that you could anticipate maybe throwing up a brick or two when he goes to the stripe in that spot. How could you just allow them to play Salugi a little bit of keep away and never attempt to put a guy on a stripe with that much time left, unless you were Jason Kidd and you were getting 7.5 from some sports book somewhere?
I'll never forget that. I mean, honestly, I sent a text out to a buddy. I go, didn't the Pacers just blow a similar game to this against the Celtics just a couple of weeks ago? It blew my mind. I mean, especially when you got regular season, okay, maybe the first round. I wouldn't even say the first round playoffs, but you play in these NBA championships until the game hit 0. So I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. It was a head scratcher to me. Like I said, especially watching the Indiana Pacers do just that a couple of weeks ago. I know it wasn't, maybe, I think it was about at least 5 points with 9 seconds left. So 7 with 25 seconds left. I was absolutely shocked. I'd be curious what his theory was on that. I'm not sure if he made comments on it. But yes, I was shocked, and I would not be shocked if money was involved in some way or facet.
I heard him mumble something in Japanese and point a finger at the Otani interpreter when they directed a question to him about the idea, like, hey, Jason, you must have had the 7 and a hook, which a lot of people, unfortunately, didn't get to capitalize on because they bet the game late. All right, so prediction for today. I know you've been red hot on baseball, and you've been pounding the Celtics all season long. They're laying a point, or they're getting a 1.5 tonight. What do you think, Troy West? Of Troy wins.
Yeah, I'm not going to that game tonight. That's a tough one for me.
Yeah.
I could. There are so many scenarios that I could see happening tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if the Mavericks got a blowout win. Wouldn't be shocked if the Mavericks are still a disaster and lose by 10 to 15 points. I don't think you've seen the best Celtics game quite yet. Tatum still hasn't had that 30-point night that he seems to throw in every once in a while. Going back to the diamond, we're going under 8. We're going back with your Tampa Rays again. Tampa Rays, they've got Savali on the bump tonight. They're going against the Cubbies. Under 8, I think, 2 very average lineups, 2 pretty solid starting pitchers. Under 8 looks like the play today. I think it's going to be a 4-2, 4-3 type of baseball game. But there's my official play for y'all. Under 8 between the Rays and the Cubbies.
The man is on fire. I always wanted to say that. The man is on fire. He's doing great. Troy West, where can people get more of your information, stats, and breakdowns of all of these various betting propositions?
Yeah, been in the industry a long time. Come to my website, troywins.com. Follow me on Instagram. It's Troy West. We're giving folks free picks. We cover prop bets. We'll cover the U.S. Open this weekend in golf. We obviously are covering the hockey playoffs, the Stanley Cup right now, NBA playoffs, Major League Baseball. We cover it all. It's not just me. We've got a team of guys that really put our brains together and put out a quality product each and every day. So come take a look at our platforms. Happy to give you a free pick and get you moving in the right way. And yes, right now, not just on this show, but we are on fire right now.
Nice.
We'd love to help you guys out. So under 8 today, Rays Cubbies, and looking forward to being back with you guys again next week.
Did you ever eat a kale tumbleweed hot dog? Because that's what they're trying to do to Joey Chestnut, man. Unbelievable. What a disgrace. What worse than leaving Caitlin Clark off the Olympics.
I saw that breaking news yesterday, and I'm like, not that I necessarily tune into that every 4th of July, but I mean, that's just, it's an American, you just have to have him on in the morning. You have to know if he broke the record, right? So that's
it's an
big
annuity.
Disgrace for the gambling world, too. I mean,
yeah,
a lot of gamblers like betting that, and they've made a lot of money on Joey Chestnut.
It's like betting the over in the NBA All-Star game. I mean, it's a gift from the gods of gambling. All right, Troy, great stuff. As always, thanks so much for being with us, and good luck with your wager today. The under in the Tampa Bay Rays game. And you've been cashing tickets on the Rays all throughout here. Thanks so much for being with us. A pleasure, my friend.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week. Enjoy the game tonight.
All right, that's Troy West. Started to say before we ran into our little technical difficulties there, what would you recommend? Rory McIlroy taking a mulligan on the marriage. He was supposedly rumored to be with this scorching hot babe, Amanda Balionis, who was married to the FIU coach. And all of a sudden, she was showing up without this gargantuan wedding ring. It was like she had a diamond the size of a bowling ball that she got from this guy. He's staking his claim on this woman. And all of a sudden, they're very flirtatious. And McIlroy files for divorce at the same time that this Balionis strips her wedding ring off the finger there. And they're supposedly getting very cozy together. And now he's going back to the wife. He dropped the divorce proceedings, Lubie. Does that not loom as a rather large mistake?
Yeah, that's weird.
You can't go home again, my friends. You can't go home again. It's, I don't know where that goes. McIlroy seems like a perfectly nice guy, somebody that you can root for. So what if he got totally fucked by Monahan and the PGA for sticking? Well, I'll be loyal to the PGA. Yeah, well, it's going to cost you $300 million, Roy.
Exactly.
I don't know that he ever gets past that, right? They still have to despise the Live Tour players. All right, we'll have some more insight into the U.S. Open coming up on tomorrow's show as they tee it off. And we'll get into that a little bit. Do you dodge Colin Morikawa at 14-1, or is that a sucker bet? 14-1. The guy's playing great. Scotty Scheffler's 3-1. You can't play him in a golf tournament at 3-1. You'd be better off taking the field at like even money or whatever it is against him. Morikawa, good bet maybe at 14-1. How about Bryson DeChambeau is getting 20-1? Can he duplicate that charge that he put together in the PGA? If he does, he seems to be playing well. Meanwhile, your man, John Rahm, who you thought was going to be the biggest star in golf, eclipsing all of the achievements of one Tiger Woods, he's on the shitter. My God. He's face down in a pond somewhere trying to work his way back to shore on a lily pad. Is this your ball, Johnny? Right, you find it at the bottom of a canal. Incredible. He's falling completely off the charts. All right, we got to run. Thanks so much for being with us. Apologize for the technical difficulties. I did a Nikita Khrushchev. When I hit the table, my camera went off. Incredible, Lubie, and reconfigured the entire system that we're working on here. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll try and do a little bit better tomorrow, and always a pleasure being with you. For Mike Lubie Lubitz, I'm Jeff DeForest, and that's today's somewhat cockamamie edition of the Morning Briefing.